with Leroy tearing you down every night, you had to be so ready and know where you were going with everything.
Right.
It taught me to always be ready and know where I was going, so I could always re-explain it. So when we broke up, then he filed an embezzlement lawsuit on me in the paper. Came out that they sued me for embezzlement, and I called him. I said, well, I guess I'm going to get your ranch free. And he said, why? I said, Leroy, you dumb shit. First of all, you hired the worst lawyer that could ever be in Tulsa. He's so stupid. And the next thing is you and Dorothy handled all the money. So I said, I never touched the money. You all signed the check. You collected the gate receipts. Matter of fact, I said I was here a year before Leo and Voss and them showed me how you were stealing off the Tulsa gate. Then another year before, because you said you wouldn't do it anymore, before I realized you're stealing in Little Rock. And so I said, here you put this in the paper. I have not taken one nickel from you. I don't handle the money. All I handle is the talent. So I'm going to get you for slander. And they dropped the lawsuit. So we split. And I took Mississippi and Louisiana, and he took what was up here. And of course, I took Louisiana from, I think the most it ever grossed was $400,000 a year, and I took it to $4 million a year. And we just did business, and then I finally said, what the hell am I not up here? And I called him. I said, I'm coming back home. I said, I'll let you have a way of saving face. I'll buy you out. And so that's what I did. But I said, then you're behind on all the TV stations. You're going to pay them all off, so I have a goodwill with them, with the money I give you.
So this was now the start of Mid-South?
Well, yeah.
Around 78?
Well, Mid-South had already started, but at 78 when I split with him. But then this was when I consolidated back up here.
Right. And I guess in the beginning you brought in the Freebirds and JYD. Who was some of your talent when you first started?
Well, I don't remember the breaks in time as such. The Freebirds, we found them, Gordy and Michael Hayes, and I wanted Gordy. I didn't ever think Michael was worth a shit in the ring.
Right.
But Gordy wouldn't leave Michael. So Michael came and we had him, and Michael was such a phenomenal talker and had such psychology on the mic, but he always wanted to wrestle. He had that pride. Michael has a lot of drive, and I love him to death, but to me, he was never what I needed in the ring. He didn't compliment Gordy in the ring. Gordy was so awesome. But then Gordy had to have Michael. They were codependent. So I'll never forget, Buck Robley was my booker then and was going to trade him to Florida for two guys in Florida. And I said, the hell you are. We're going to find somebody to go with this team, and Michael's going to start just doing the interviewing and managing. And we got Buddy Roberts, who was perfect. And that team just took off as the Freebirds. And then JYD, he was in Calgary as Sylvester Ritter. We found him, brought him here. I saw his charisma. I named him, gave him his music, and did everything. And he was so dynamite. He wasn't a good worker. He was terrible. Matter of fact, funny thing, Ernie Ladd was, then by that time, we got him going and we were selling out everywhere. But Ernie Ladd was having a big influence here. And Ernie one night said, I've got your new star, and he can't handle it. We put him with Scott Irwin, and Scott ran him ragged, and his tongue was hanging out. He just can't compete. And I didn't understand Ernie completely, but Ernie was the greatest human being in my life, because Ernie, not only as a person, as an athlete, but as a fabulous human being, Ernie taught me about black. And all the things I was trying to learn at that time, a white man can never learn black.
Right.
Because we don't ever have to go through it. We can only observe it. So I learned so much from Ernie Ladd, and he had such a great heart, but he didn't want a black man to fail. So he was afraid JYD would fail. I fired Ernie for what he'd done to JYD that night with Scott Irwin. And Ernie got the message, and it never happened again. And of course, the rest is history. JYD became the biggest star I'd had. Ernie Ladd was one of the biggest stars I ever had. And the sad thing in the side, that when JY went to New York, and of course later got his problems with substance abuse that he never overcame, it was a bad parting for he and I. But I think when he died, and Buddy Landell asked me to write a eulogy for him, which I did, and I sat down, as I wrote it, I started crying, because I realized I never got to tell him how much I loved him. That the period of time I was around him, he was such a dynamite human being. The fact of how we ended our relationship was not near as important as the time we spent together. Right. I think I was starting to value life differently. And it was such a waste of time that this man that was so brilliant and JYD was a neat, special person. And then you also see the terrible battle that's fought when guys get something that gets a hold of them, that they can't whip. And so that was a great loss and that's when I think I've started realizing the difference in some of the relationships I had over the years. Because when you were in the business with your nose to the grindstone, you took things for granted, or you didn't have time to really look at the depth of what the relationship was. And so JYD is special, and that's why. But Ernie Ladd I knew was special. There are guys that have been in my life that just surpass so much. That Eddie Graham was special when he committed. It was such a loss. I can't tell you what a loss that was. Ole Anderson has been special in my life. We've battled at times, but Ole Anderson, there was times in our life where we had so much creativity flowing. I even came over and I'm the one that told the Road Warriors to cut their hair and paint their faces, which made them a team. So, I mean, Ole Anderson, we've had our problems. Hiro Matsuda, I can just go on, these guys touched my life to a deeper level than sometimes I realize.
All right. What were some of your early goals with Mid-South Championship Wrestling? Where did you want to see the company?
Oh, initially your goal is just to survive.
Right.
Then you start making money, and then I think when you find that you've done something that later now has become noted by history, I don't think you knew you were doing it at the time. Although I had the same idea Vince McMahon had and tried to get Kenny National Services. I met with him to try to get him to bankroll me to do what he had clear back while Eddie Graham was still alive. So I knew that I could take it nationally, and I knew it could be big because we had something nobody had. See, when you had a promotion like the East Coast, where you had all the population anyway, you could bore the shit out of people and still draw money because you had so many people to draw from.
Right.
Whereas I had such a small amount of population that my theory was to excite them so much that they want to watch it every week and will come. So we had some TVs that we had 60% shares of the audience. Alexandria, Louisiana, places like that. I mean, that's why our show was so damn good. You never knew what was going to happen on it, but we gave you main event matches. And I'd often put the guys that were against each other on the show, they're going to be out there drawing the money, because if they gave you enough, you'd still want to see them.
All right.
So that was a revelation. But I don't know. I think that when you're doing what you enjoy, that the benefits just take care of themselves. I don't think I had long-range plans. I was just doing and evolving, and I saw the business a certain way. I wanted respect for the business. I wanted the wrestlers to respect the business. I wanted the fans to respect the business. So if a wrestler came in with me and left bad checks or left bad debts, I took it out of his money. And we paid him because he could go on. But we were here and we wanted to build respect for our industry. So we always demanded respect for our industry.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.